Hi. Today, we're going to have some fun. We are going to teach you how to play You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch. And I'm excited you're here because this is going to demo what I do for my other students that are like my paid students that come and they see me weekly. Other people, they want to just subscribe to my song resource, kind of like binge watching Netflix episodes, except it's song lessons instead. So whatever reason you're here, I'm glad to see you. Our schedule today is I want to briefly talk about how to use the song resources that I provide for each of the songs that I make videos for. So right in the middle of the screen, this is the lyric sheet. And to start with, I just do a little analysis part where there's no words yet. It just shows you what all the chords are and the order that you need to play them in. And so that type of document shows up with all the songs that I teach lessons for. And this just happens to be the progression for Mr. Grinch. And as I step through these, I'm going to show you on the keyboard that you see at the bottom of the screen. That's actually telling you which notes I'm pressing down. And for those of you who are very, very new at piano and you really don't know your note names yet, and you kind of need to be shown where everything should go, when I hold these chords down like this, you'll find it useful to have one of these sheets right here. See my mouse moving in the top left? You can print off multiple copies of that sheet right there, and then you just, with the pencil crayon, just color in just the notes that you need, and then make sure you label the chord that this was so that you start to make the connection between the chord says this, here's the notes I need to play. So you might need to make multiple copies of this because I made it nice and big so it's really easy, but you might need to have multiple pages for one document. So hopefully before you started this video, you've printed off a few copies of that just so you're ready to go. Okay, so now we're to step 2. We're going to talk through the song today. The chord progression for You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch is pretty much this. We have intro chords. It doesn't happen just in this order any other time. And the same with the inversion. Some of these are maybe a little bit different than it shows up in other parts of the song. And so we do that intro. Dun, dun, dun. And the intro's over, and then intro chords only happen once. Then the verse chords just follow in this order right here. Do 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 do. And then at the just about the end of the verse, then we have a break. There's a and then a spoken part over top of that glissando. And each verse is a little bit different with how much you're required to say or sing or whatever. And you just hold that note until that speaking part's over. And then after that part's done, then we go to a D7 and these what I'm calling transition chords that lead us back to the starting point of the next verse. This happens 6 times because there's 6 verses in this song. And then when we get to the end, after we do this transition, and by the way, I'm not going exactly like the recording. Because I think some of the chords in it might be a little advanced for people that are beginning, so I'm trying to make it a little simpler for you. So the transition would go just to the ending chord, and I'm going to give you 2 choices for your ending chord. Like after that last verse is done and you've done this little thing, then we're going to just go with this progression. And then the ending chord is just this. Or if you don't want just G minor, I also wrote this juicy one in right here, the G minor major 9 chord. This one sounds like this. Isn't that cool? I love the way that sounds. So if you want to end the song with that, that will be the last chord that you play. Now I'm going to step through all the chords, so don't panic. I was just doing a talk through first because now we're to that step where we're going to show you what all the chords look like, and you can fill in your sheet. One little thing that I've noticed while I'm holding this with my sustain pedal is this one right here. Because we're in a key signature with flats, it assumed that I would want this written as G flat. The thing is, when we're talking about G minor major 9, this really should be feeling like a D major triad right here. And so this should have been written as an F sharp. But F sharp and G natural are the same as far as what note you actually hit. It's just they have a different name. So just to be specific, I would rather have you write that one down as an F sharp in your book if you want to. Not a big deal. I'm just saying that for harmony, to me, it makes more sense to have it written that way. Okay, so let's talk about the chords now and get your pencil crayon ready. By the way, this part of the video, you might want to pause it frequently so that you have time to color it in. I'm not going to hold these for very long because we need to get moving. So I'll hold each chord. I'll tell you which one we're on, and then I'll move to the next one. Again, pause it if you need to have the time to fill in the chord sheet. So the intro chords, we're going to start with a G minor. I'll try to move this mouse every time I switch. And then we're going to go up to the E7 here. This top note should have been a D flat in my opinion. I don't like that they wrote it as C sharp. I can't change the app. It's just going to tell me what that is, but that's the second chord. The third chord is a D7 sharp 5. So now we're here. And I like it like this. Okay. Now, if you're looking at that, go ahead and fill that in with your pencil crayon, but I need to make a little comment about this. You might have noticed that we've got 5 notes being played. If the left hand was only playing the one down here, then we have to go, we're stretching the thumb all the way up to the pinky. Some people can't go that far. So the way to get around that is to play those 2 notes with thumb and pinky on your left hand, because most people should be able to reach at least that far. And then play these 3 notes with your right hand. That's how I would do the fingering on that one. Okay, so we started with G minor. Okay, I'll show you the rhythm part later. We're not worrying about the rhythm or the feel of the song yet. That's another step later on. Okay, so now we're into the verse chords. Verse chords start again on the G minor that we already showed you. And then we're going to play a C. So now I'm here. So go ahead and fill that in. Next chord's an F7. Okay, fill that one in. Again, pause these if you need to for a second. And we got a B flat chord. Now after the B flat chord is a neat chord which I call a slash chord, because we have a chord and then a slash and then another letter after. What happens after the slash is what you're supposed to play in the left hand. What you can see I'm playing right now is still the B flat, but if I play a D in the bass, the right hand stays the same, and I just move this one up here instead. It's kind of a little passing note that leads us to the next G minor chord. So there's the B flat / D right there, and then we go back to the G minor that you've already been shown. Okay, new chord that we haven't seen yet is an A7. I like to play it there. And then the D7 D7 sharp 5 is this one again that we've played before. Then back to G minor. And then this time when we go up to C, now we're going to do a C minor 7 instead. So you got to write a separate one for this. Again, pause the video if you need to color these in. You're going to need multiple sheets because there's lots of chords coming at you. And then the same F7 that we used before. Right there. And then we're going to do a B flat major 7. That one sounds kind of pretty. We don't stay there very long, and this song is anything but pretty. But yeah, I think it sounded good there. And then just a regular E flat chord right here. You could play this with the E flat lower if you want. And again, a lot of things with left hand, if you want it to sound meaner, darker, whatever, try dropping it the octave in the left hand and just see if it sounds nice down there. Okay, and sometimes what I'll like to do, you'll notice that I've got 2 E flats down there because I'm playing them an octave apart. That gives it a nice full sound as well. And some parts of the song you might want to play an octave in the bass just to give it some oomph. Okay, and then this chord right before the little glissando is the A minor 7 with a flat 5. It's this. Yeah, that sounds kind of weird, doesn't it? But the chord after this is going to be even more fun. So again, just keep coloring these in. This will make more sense when I do the playthrough, and you can hear that these chords actually are what was happening in this song. Now, this part right here, we're going to hold the D first, or hit the D first, and then we're going to glissando this part with our right hand. What that means when I say glissando is it's almost like simulating a guitar strum, because when you strum a guitar, the strings don't all hit at the same time. It's right. They happen one at a time quickly. So I did it kind of slow just to demonstrate. But those are the notes that you're going to need. And just for fun, if you want to take a break and just try this, just go D and hit those one at a time. Just kind of roll them up and hit them. And then, of course, if you're doing the song for real at this point, you'd do the little the spoken part between the verses. Okay? And then now we're ready to go to transition chords to get back to the top of the next verse. So then we do a D7, which is this. So go ahead and color that in. Then we're going to do the same G minor we've been using every time. And then a C minor. And then back to the G minor. And then the E flat 7. We did this before. This actually occurred in the intro. We're not going to do it differently. We're going to use the same. And the D7 sharp 5 is also the same as we used above. Okay? So after we've gone through that little transition, if we're not on the ending verse yet, then we would just go back up here and do the next verse and start from here. If we're at the ending, then we would simply resolve to the G minor or the G minor major ninth. And let me just show you. You've already seen this tons of times. Excuse me. But then the G minor major ninth would look like this. Kind of cool chord to end on, I think. Okay. So there's how that works. Now, before I do a playthrough of the song and try to sing it along, I think it's worth talking a little bit about the intros and outros and just some of the melodic things and the rhythmic feel that we need. This song is played in kind of like a lilting swing kind of thing. Hear how that fits go? How that goes together. That's just the bass line. I'm going really fast. The song doesn't actually go that fast, but that's the rhythmic feel that I want. And then obviously the right hand would join. So, as you can tell, yes, there's this swing rhythm that's happening in the background, but I do trust you to take what I've got on the page and what I've demonstrated here. I need you to listen to the original somewhat and just kind of get the flow of this, or you can use the playthrough that I'm about to do as your way of being able to play this. We need to trust our ears and our sense of what's happening in the recording or what you've heard, and try to mimic it the best that we can with our hands, and just to have the chords played with the right rhythm attention to it. Okay, so listen to mine, listen to the original, whatever you got to do, and just get that feel happening. Break from the rhythm, we do the little glissando. You're a bad banana with a greasy black heel. Now, we're to the part now where I need to show you a little melodic part. Most of the rest of the way we've just been chording along, and the singer was providing the melody. That little transition part, we need to play something. So I need you to watch it very carefully. You play this part of this video over and over again a few times to get this part, because I'm not going to write it out in notes. I'm just going to trust that you can follow along, because this isn't very hard. So we played the G minor, but then we're going to use our upper fingers. Okay, do that again with me. Just watch. Oops. That's what we're going to do for the transition. We're going to add the chords in for the chords later, but let's just worry about the melody. Okay, and I added another note on that very last one just because of the D7 sharp 5 is going to sound cool. But so try this now with the chord underneath it. I know that's going by kind of fast. Let's try that one more time. I'm going to go slowly. So just follow where my fingers are going. We've got to add the chords with that as well. Okay, so work through that a few times. That's the only part that really has a melody happening, and in your mind's ear, you can kind of hear how the original sounds. I think it's like a trumpet probably doing that. It's probably a trumpet happening with that part. But anyway, practice that a few times till you get the transition. Now let's do a playthrough of the whole thing. Now let's scroll down, and this is another area where I'm going to trust that you're going to use your own judgment and ears. I've written out the chord progression here for the intro from above, and then I've written the chord changes as they occur over the words in the song as it's sung and performed. But you'll notice that I didn't keep going. I didn't write the chords down here because I want you to have the experience. I want you to get the chord progression under your fingers, and then you write these in down here. Now, one little thing I should have said earlier, when you look at this Google document, there's two ways you could approach this. You could take that Google document. I'm probably going to make it available as a PDF file you could print as well. That's fine. If you're not into technology, you don't want to worry about editing Google documents, just print that page, and then with your pencil, take the G minor and write it here, and then see how the other chords fit. What part of the words do they go with? And just write that in. Make it your own. And just trust your ears and instincts and make sure that you do it correctly. People that join my my one-on-one coaching program, then I do have Q&A sessions with those people and just help them to figure out, did they write it correctly, that kind of thing. But you might not need that. You might be able to just do this just by hearing it and trust your own instincts and make it sound good. So let's just do a little playthrough. Just for this run through, though, I'm going to pretend that the first verse is the last verse. And when I do the little transition, I'm going to end on the G minor major 9. And so just pretend there's only one verse. I'll leave it up to you to do the rest. Okay, this part you might want to play multiple times along with yours just till you get the feel of it. You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. You really are a heel. You're as cuddly as a cactus, you're as charming as an eel, Mr. Grinch. You're a bad banana with a greasy black heel. Now, I did a glissando for the end. You don't have to. You could just do it block chord if you want, but that's it. That's it. Now, I made a couple of mistakes. I'm sorry. I'm not perfect, but that's pretty much how the chord progression fits. And then you would just take that chord progression, transcribe it below for each of the other verses. And hey, if you're creative and you want to make this song about somebody else, maybe there's a villain in your life that you want to heckle at a staff party or whatever. Change the words around. Do what you want. That's half the fun of being able to play music, is to make things your own. And but be nice. Don't be a total jerk about it. If you're describing your villain, maybe it's a coworker. You're just trying to roast in good fun, or whatever. I hope you don't get in trouble. But yeah, don't get yourself fired. Anyway, if you have questions, comment below this video. I will do my best to answer. I try to give you as much detail as I possibly could. This is an awesome song. And I made this video in the morning because I'm normally not a bass, but in the morning my voice can go low enough to hit the low G. So yeah, if I ever had to play this song at night, I might have a hard time doing it, actually. But have yourself a Merry Christmas. I hope this video has been informative and helpful. And yeah, just find the resources you need, print it off, fill things in, make it your own. Have a good time.